Oh, okay, so been away for a while, had a little vacation, and hi Axel. And I wanted to come on here and lay some things down. Woo! Because it is really, really important that we have this conversation. So, one of the things I absolutely love about doing this work with people is that I get to work with people's deepest souls. Like I get to connect with the deepest part of somebody and call that out through the work that I do, through the processes that I hold people through. Now, what that also means is I get to meet people and I get to see all of the layers on top, high, low. So happy you're here. I think you're going to love this, right? So when you're working with someone's soul, right, the thing underneath. But in order to get to that, we have to work our way through all the layers on top, right? All of the egoic layers, all of the patterns, all of the mechanisms of hiding, all of the protection layers, all of the emotions on top, all of the things that are stuck. And I meet an enormous amount of people who are at the absolute fundamental, you are denying the truth of who you are. Right? You are denying the truth of who you are. And I believe that many of you did not come to this earth, to this life for that. It takes an enormous amount of energy to hide. It takes an enormous amount of energy to pretend. It takes an enormous amount of energy to perform. And we have so much performance. We have so much extra on top. We're encouraged to just be there's so much extra, and not in the way like extra, because I love being extra. I love being truly extra, but not from a place of let me be so much more of me than I actually am because I'm trying to please you. I'm trying to contort myself. So let me just have all of these kind of pony tricks to bring out in different moments to impress you, or to have you like me, or to have you impressed by me, or have you want more, right? Versus just trusting the simplicity of who I really am, right? This path, this work is burning off the extra, right? Not extra, like, fuck me, I've got a lot to say and I'm here to say it, and I'm going to say it and it's going to make people uncomfortable. But all of the other bullshit, we're like coated in these layers, and we think we have the deepest fear a lot of people have is truly being seen, which I think is so ironic because the version of ourselves that we offer to the world is often the mediocre performance. It's the thing that people can't really feel. And we keep away the sweetest, most gorgeous parts of ourselves, the internal, like the essence of who we really are. We hold that back. We keep it kind of locked away, only bringing it out under certain conditions. Right? I'll only be myself when. I'll only say what I think when. Well, when will that be? When are you going to start saying what you really think? When are you going to invite that part of you out and allow yourself the experience, the human experience of being really seen for who you are? It takes courage and vulnerability on your part to bring that out. No one is going to do it for you, right? So I see many, many people denying the truth of who you are, false humility. Oh, I'm not that great. I'm not that special. I'm not that magical. Oh, look how great she is. Oh my God, I'm nothing like her. I'm so jealous and resentful. Jealousy and resentment is avoidance, right? I'm a big fan. Feel your resentment, feel your jealousy. Don't get stuck there. Don't get stuck in the swamp and use that as an excuse as to why you can't be all of yourself. If you go to bed at night and you have that like yearning, right? The yearning of, who am I really? What are you doing about that? Right? It takes a knock on the door. It takes you to be willing to start chipping away at some of the things in the way, the layers on top, all of the things, the false humility, the competition, the comparison, the unwillingness to feel. Woo! Right? You have to slowly be willing to start making steps in a new direction. So denying the truth of who you are, to me, is denying the experience you're actually having right now. If you are in denial of the experience you are having and you just keep trying to change it and you keep being resentful that it's happening versus surrendering to what's happening, you will consistently be in that cycle of suffering. Right? You are actively choosing to go against what your soul wants you to do. Right? You know the difference between when you're moving with the flow and you're allowing it to take you and when you are actively swimming upstream. Right? I guarantee you know the difference of how that feels. So when I get to do this work, I get to work with people and like really pierce through to that deep, deep part of you. Like slicing through the layers on top so you get to feel it. But you have to be willing to slowly do the work to keep chipping away at all the layers on top because they will keep coming back. Right? This journey is a spiral. It's continuous. You have to keep maintaining. You can't just do the work. Woo, I'm free. It's like inner freedom is a lifelong journey. Requires you to consistently be showing up for yourself. Be consistently committed, right? Not half committed, consistently committed. No matter what the conditions, right? Storms might be rough right now. A lot of people are having a rough fucking time, right? There's been an enormous amount of uncertainty. There's been a lot of rug pulling, right? The world has just gone, whew, let's reveal what's really going on. Let's pull the rug. Let's see who you really are when there's a bit of crunch, when there's a bit of pressure, right? You actually have a force right now big enough to help you and support you with burning away everything that's ready to go, right? Still some people choosing to be under the wave, still going to keep pretending that I'm okay and I'm satisfied. I'm going to stay in my small box over here. I'm going to keep denying to myself how fucking powerful I am. So I'm going through a big transformation right now on my journey. You can probably feel it. And everything I've been doing with my work is transitioning, and I'm funneling it all into one place. Crawl. You're going to be hearing more about it. I'm going to be dropping it publicly next week. You'll be able to enroll then. But one thing I'm noticing as I dial up the heat, it scares people. And when it scares people, the thing it scares is not their soul. Soul is like, I am a fucking yes to that. It's everything else on top, right? It's the protection, the ego that's like, no, I don't want to change. I don't want to change. And I quite like it over here. I like suffering. In fact, I love suffering. No, I like being in denial. So the first thing we look at is all the places where you love to be in denial. Right? Because if you don't acknowledge the denial and all of the places where you are holding yourself back, where you are adding on top to cover up how you really feel, where you are squashing your emotions, you're squashing your feminine, all of the places where you spend all of this time caring what other people think, right? Obsessing, what are they going to talk about me? What are they going to say? You know what? They're going to say all sorts of shit and you can't control it. You really can't control other people, what they think, what they say. You can't even get into their head. I know you think you can. I know you think you can read someone's mind by their facial expressions. You know what? You can't. Their journey, none of your business. Like the sooner you can learn that no one else's journey is none of your business, the more space is created in your life for you to have the journey that you were meant for. Right? So I feel the fear right now because those of you that are getting close to this fire know that when you step in, all of that shit's going to be burned away. It has to. Right? It has to be burned off. Right? So often we want to grow. We want to be like, well, I want to be like her. I feel this ferocity inside of my soul, but I don't want to give anything up. I want to carry this dead animal with me. I want to carry, I want to bring my ex-partner along with me and everything that he thought about me and all those things he said. I want to take that with me. You know what? You got to let that go, babe. You got to let it go. You got to let it go, right? You can't have your expansion without being willing to chop things away and let them go. Let them fall away. Take your claws off. Claw, 1 claw, 2 claws, 3 claws. Get them off. Right? Let it go. Let it go and have some faith. Have some faith that you are going to be taken care of. Right? So often we choose mediocrity and we choose situations that are too small for us, that we have long outgrown because we do not have faith that we will be provided for. We do not have faith in the unbelievable abundant resources inside of ourselves and around us. So we think, I need to feed myself off this mediocre situation that I have created in my life. Because I believe that I don't trust. I don't have faith. I don't have faith of what's over there. You know what? You're going to need to have some fucking faith. Number 1, have some faith, right? How often in life do we get, think about all the magic that fucking happens, right? Think about how much magic happens. And then all it takes is one thing that you judge as bad because maybe it was uncomfortable or maybe it took you to a place you didn't like to go. Maybe it was a dark night of the soul. Maybe it was a breakup. Maybe you had to lose something. That if you were losing it, the fact that it was happening meant that it was ready to go, right? How often do we ignore all the magic, all the abundance that happens because there was just this one thing that someone said? I'm going to focus on that. I'm going to pour my energy onto that one thing that cunt said to me, right? And I'm going to spin the pot. I'm just going to lavish myself in how much that I suck because this one thing happened. I'm going to ignore the truth of what else is happening, right? I'm not saying bypass the things that are uncomfortable. I'm saying fully fucking feel them. You know, anyone that knows me, you know, right? That dead animal you're carrying around, say hello, have a look, open it up. What's inside, right? Get the gold out the dead animal, right? And then you can let him go. You take the gold with you. So often we don't want to go into the pain. We don't want to go into the fear and the rot and all of the resentment stuck, right? You're afraid of it, but in there, in the mulch, honestly, that's where the gold lies, right? But the gold isn't in carrying the dead animal with you. It's transmuting the dead animal, loving it, and taking what's ready to go with you and letting go of everything else, right? It takes discernment, right? It takes attention on your life. So many people do not have attention on your life. Every client of mine right now this week, what we're doing, soul sprucing, right? Everyone's doing a soul spruce, looking at their life, what needs to be attended to, what bills need to be paid, right? Taking the trash out. Where are you accumulating shit? Get it out the house. Going into a big portal this week, you can feel the energy. My teacher, Perry Chase, is doing Apocalypse this week. I know many of you are coming. That's going to be just, we're not going to be the same on the other side of that. It's also Lionsgate Portal. And I'm also dropping Crawl next week, which is the brand new program, a whole new body of work for women that I'm birthing, right? And I know some of you watching this are coming. I can feel it. Okay. So times like this, right? Times like this. So Apocalypse is a great description, right? Because it's apocalyptic time. It's a really good time to do the work, to burn things away, right? When I think about the work I'm doing moving forward with people, creative expansion, this is a time for enormous creation. So many of you have these really, really big life callings, right? You did not come here for a mediocre life. You came here for a big fucking life, right? And you know you want it. I can see it. I can feel the desire for it. But what often gets missed, and this is why I'm always so suspicious of business training, right? Because it's like, I'm going to teach you, let's just talk about, I don't even know if I want to even bring this in because it just feels low vibration or feels kind of low frequency. It's like, okay, I'm just going to say it because I think it's a good example. Teaching people how to be coaches, right? Teaching people how to be coaches, not teaching them about what it is truly like to birth a business, right? A business to me is a creative expression through your body, right? It's something that's like born through you. It takes an enormous amount of personal work to hold yourself through it, right? And to bring it out into the world, and also to actually, how do I phrase this? Like, be consistently maintaining the human being that is holding the business, right? So Crawl is an enormous part of Crawl is the expansion, right? It's creating the conditions for your expansion so you can actually learn to hold yourself, right? So many people teaching feminine power, but what you're actually teaching is pussy with masculine tricks, right? It's like my teacher Perry says this brilliantly, right? You're pimping your resources. You're pimping yourself out. It's so easy to pimp. It's so easy to pimp, right? Because all it takes, like the world is full of pimps. Right? The world is full of masculine power, pimping the resources on this planet, pimping the resources of the human beings, right? Lo, you said this beautifully the other day about human resources. Just even the term human resources is such a kind of disgusting term. It's so dry. Human resources, right? Are we robots? What is that, you know? And so this path is getting to see all of the places you want to pimp. And you know what pimping looks like for me? It's skipping the steps. It's pulling, it's looking around me what everyone else is doing and copying them versus doing the deep, dirty work of getting on my knees and crawling through my own awakening, crawling through my own expansion, not expecting anyone else to do this work for me, right? I'm unbelievably resourced. I hire multiple people to hold me, and anyone I hire has an enormous system because I know how big mine is and I need people that can hold mine, right? I'm very, very clear on who can see me and who can hold me, right? I'm looking for something very, very, very specific, right? I'm not using those people as like using their energy, like pimping them, right? I'm receiving fully, right? It means my full participation. That's why Crawl is exquisite participation. There is no taking here, right? Any sniff of taking and you are out, right? And if there is, like I can smell a mile off when someone's coming in. If you want to, if you're just there because you think, oh, Olivia's got something I want, Olivia's cool, I'm gonna, I want to be friends with her, or I want to, like, you want to work with me, but you don't really want to do the really deep work, right? I can feel that. And if that is you, you're not ready, right? Because this requires you to take me off a pedestal as somebody that's going to save you, and actually allow you to see who you really are and stop denying the truth of you, who you really are. And that is required for you to enter. You have to see yourself, right? I see it in you, right? I have incredible sight, right? But it's not my job to rush you before you're ready to see it. In order for you to step in, you have to be willing to stop denying the truth of who you are, right? And that's something we work on together, of course, because if you have that pattern, which most people do, you're going to keep having it again and again and again. We're going to keep working with it, right? It's like a spiral. But in order to come in, you can't come in and just because you see something you like and you think, I'll work with Olivia. She'll transform my life. I won't have to do the work. I'll just be around her, right? I see this all the time. Energetically, it doesn't work. And if you are like a coach or a teacher and that's what you're selling to people, you are going to be really drained. You will be really, really drained. If you allow people to sit in their own denial, and you allow people to sit in their denial, and you also collude with them by making yourself, like pedestalizing yourself as better than, I have the answers to what you need, right? I see this all the time in coaching. Look what I have. Look at this relationship that I have. Look at this business that I have. It's so great. You should have this too. You should want this. I can show you how to do this, right? You know what I'll show you is how to really be who you are. And that means you have to be so fucking loving. You know what? This is a thing people are often the most unwilling to be, is loving to themselves. You won't get through these portals without being loving, you know? It's like, it's so funny because I think we see fiery women, right? You might look at Perry, you might be watching this and you might think like, oh, I'm gonna go to the flame and it's gonna burn everything away, and it will, but with an enormous amount of love, right? Do you feel that? Do you feel how much love is needed? Right? So many people come to me and they're like, I've been working with the feminine and I'm a feminine coach, or like I'm in touch with my pussy. And actually what I feel from you is I feel that like patriarchal, masculine, internalized structure of lack. Very unloving for the process you're in, very unloving for the unfolding that's happening, because you know what? It is painful and messy. This is not unicorns and fluffy. This is like deep on your knees surrender. That's what it takes to burn away all of these long standing patterns that you've had for your entire life. It doesn't get burned away by positive thinking. It gets burned away by emoting, by allowing yourself to be where you are, right? By not having an idea of how it's supposed to be, but actually allowing yourself to sit in the fire and allow it to melt you. But you have to be open. You have to allow things to happen, right? And if you're clamping and you're constricting, things won't happen. You will stay there. You will stay stuck. You will stay stirring. You will stay frozen, right? You have to be willing to open and allow things to happen that you may be very uncomfortable with, right? You're going to probably realize that the idea of who you believed you are and the person you are at a deep soul level are very, very different. Very, 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 very different, right? So creative commitment and expansion is a big part of my work moving forward. In order to have that, we have to lay the foundation. We're going to be doing a lot of fire building, a lot of primal release practices, a lot of primal release practices. And then the other thing is energy, right? Working with your energy system. Again, something that's really overlooked, because if you come from the world of pimping and you come from the world of using your body, using your magic to get somewhere, to get something, to get someone, right? This is so funny. I was thinking about this last night about how a lot of women want to be really attractive. And a lot of women have this conditioning where it's like, oh, the most attractive woman in the room gets the best man, right? There's this like bullshit story that we believe. There's this kind of like, it's kind of whitewashed as well, where it's like this, like, but that's not magnetism. And when you start to really go to the depths and you start to play a bigger game, you really get to learn what's a truly magnetic woman, what's a truly feminine being, right? A woman that's really, really in touch with her power. And what does attractive really mean? Being in connection with that type of woman is not going to be comfortable for you, right? Some people do like to choose very attractive, right? Aesthetically attractive people that aren't in touch with their soul, that it's all surface and they're in complete denial of who they really are. They're performing an attractive woman, right? Some men do like that, right? Some men are drawn to that. They're drawn to using a woman like that to feel better about themselves, right? My sense is if you're watching this, like, you're likely not that type of man and you're likely not that type of woman, right? You're likely here for something much, much, much deeper. So don't get hooked on somebody that's followed all the steps of how to be an attractive woman and how to be a nice to look at, and is using her magic and her resources to hook people into loving her, right? This is not what this is. This is like, wow, this is really, when you're connected to that deep thing in you, you honestly don't care whether someone's attracted to you or not. Like, it's, you trust that those that can see it and feel it will come to you. And that's true for me with clients, right? I have a lot of faith that the ones, you that are ready for me, you will come. And you do. And you are amazing. And I fucking love the ones that walk through my door. Same with men. Like, if someone doesn't want it and they're not drawn in and they don't want to be with the intensity and it's too much for them, great. Like, that's not my job to try and change myself to fit into your palette. It's my job to commit so deeply to who I am that everyone it's not for will filter themselves out. And it does mean losing people. It does mean letting things go. And that can be really sad. And that's a big part of this journey. It's not pretending that everything's great. It's like being with the cycles of life, letting things go, grieving, right? Letting all parts of you go. It's so, so, so important that you are willing to feel and willing to be with what is. Oh, wow, it felt great. Just gonna read some comments here. Lola's just announced an upcoming Facebook call, which is gonna be brutal. Yeah, great. Trim it, babe. You know, like, we're so, you know what I think is so funny is, like, people are usually so willing to give their energy away. And everything's about money. How much does it cost? How much does it cost to do this? But yet, like, oh, I'll just happily spend time with people that completely, I feel very drained when I spend time with them, or they're trying to take and they're pulling and they're not respecting themselves and they're wanting to be rescued, and like they don't want to really show up for themselves, and they're like, we're so people don't look at the currency of energy. Energy to me is my most precious resource by a million fucking miles. Right. And now, like, I trim that bush. Exactly. I'm like, I think about all of the times in relationships with men where I was just so willing to give the milk away for free. Right. Like, willing to entertain low investment men. Right. And this isn't a judgment at all on men or anyone for that matter. Like, low investment is low investment. Low investment is communicated through someone's behavior. Right. If somebody isn't making the effort to invest their time and attention, in the way that feels good to me, then I'm no. That doesn't matter how great they are. Like if they're a low investment and they're not willing to step into the uncertainty with me and create with me, and I'm a no. And there was a period in my life where I was so afraid of my power that I would choose men all the time that needed a lot of attention, were usually in some form of crisis, and I would use them as my scapegoat. Right. So if you're coming in to me and you're kind of listening to this, I want you to look at, like, where are you off gassing your power right now by by pouring your attention and energy down the drain. And it might be in a relationship, might be in a job you hate, might be like feeding a pattern of avoidance where you never really start or finish things. It might be in hiding, false humility, trying to be yourself, but you're not really admitting how big you really are, right? If you're coming to me, we're going to really slay that. And I hope you're scared. I hope you're a little afraid, because you will be invited to change. You will be invited to work and wring the inside of you. You will be invited to really slow down and start to open up and feel. Okay, and it isn't for everybody. I'll just say that right now. This is not for everybody, and I'm very clear about that. Just like I'm not everybody, like not everybody should date me. I have a very particular energy, right? And I want to be in relationship where I'm very well received. And I want to say that I wish that for everyone, right? That you have the experience of being in relationships with people where they're big enough to hold you. And you choose that, right? Because my sense is when you're denying who you are putting yourself in a small box, and you are attracting people in your life that just want you at that size. And when you start to really be more honest with yourself, and you start to express, and you start to not be so nice and pleasing and contorting, those people that liked you at that size might not like it. And then you get to use them as the excuse as to why you're not growing. So just catch that, because people won't like it, but you know what? They will come with you. Some of them won't, right? I can't tell you the amount of people that I've lost on this journey, and it's okay. Like, I'm okay with it. And also I'll say that you need to let things go, right? We think, like, I've said this before, women are fucking brilliant, but we think we can just hold everything. We can't. You actually do have a capacity limit. Your vessel can only handle and hold so much. So a lot of this work is trimming you all the way back to basics, to coming home to yourself, to start to navigate the world from here outward, right? It looks very different. It looks very, very different. So you felt the fire. Get in touch with me if you want to know more. The public drop is coming next week. My sense is there's going to be people that feel it. You've already been messaging me, some of you. And I know some of you are coming with me on this journey, and I'm excited about that. So let me know. There is really nothing more to say than that. I'd love to hear your thoughts about any questions you have, anything that came up for you as you were watching this. And yeah, if you're just watching, stay tuned. There's going to be all sorts of juice coming, and trim that bush, trim the energetic bush, and soul spruce. That's my recommendation for you this week. And yeah, thank you for watching. Always appreciate the love and support here. How do I